Davey Emla over here. Travis, as we've seen throughout the show, is right there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the weekend, guys. We just talked about the rankings a little bit. What stuck out, I guess? We'll start with you, David.
Yeah, it's early in the season, so, we don't know too much right now and can take away only so much. But, a couple of things certainly did stick out for me. One being just UVA and the arsenal of offensive weapons that they have on that end. And again, I know they haven't necessarily been challenged the way we expect them to be in the ACC and through the rest of their schedule. But, you see guys that are making plays that weren't even playing big minutes for them last year. On top of everyone that they returned, they had that cohesiveness. They're going to be a really tough draw no matter what throughout the entire season.
Yeah, I think we saw them at the beginning of the game really kind of show what their full arsenal could be. The second half sort of let down a little bit. Loyola came back a little bit there, and maybe that might be the biggest concern with Virginia is the defense and maybe letting teams hang around a little bit more, but still win 12-9. And scores a little closer than you thought.
No Cade Sostad, the returning sophomore defenseman. We knew with that injury that he dealt with in the fall, he wasn't going to be. They weren't sure exactly what game they were going to have him back. Didn't have him in the opener. That's a big difference maker. If he comes in, they look at him as the standout lockdown defenseman, and he's a piece they're going to need moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing we were talking about Maryland and double OT. You thought that they should have maybe moved down a little bit in the poll?
I moved them down a spot just because I was so impressed with Syracuse. And look, they beat Colgate, and we saw what North Carolina did to Colgate, so you can't look into the score as much. But in terms of the offense and Chase Scanlon, because Chase Scanlon showed what him wearing the number 22 can look like when he's on. And if he plays anywhere close to that for most of the season, Syracuse is a different team because it gives them a guy. They need a guy that can get a goal when they need a goal. And that's one of the pieces they've been missing for the last several years. He's got the number 22 now, and you see the way Rafe is created. He has 7 assists, 4 of which to Scanlon. I love the combinations they have on that offense. That's why I kind of flip-flopped the two of them, because Maryland, going to Richmond is a really tough place to play. But if you're a voter and you put Richmond at number 19 and you don't move Maryland down, then shouldn't Richmond be higher if you think that highly of Richmond? I don't know. That to me doesn't settle right.
Last week, so they got a considerable bump. But
if they're taking Maryland to double overtime and probably should have won the game, then shouldn't they be higher up if Maryland if that's supposed to be the type of game Maryland's supposed to play against them?
I have to say, I agree with Travis, and really on both points, and being that I think they should have flip-flopped. One, I think Syracuse did look very impressive, and you're right, there are some times where, all right, this is who they're playing, yada, yada, but there also is the eye test, and you know what you're looking at, and you can see what the offense is creating, and more just the mojo, if you will, of the team, and I really liked what I saw from Syracuse. On the other hand, Maryland, you're right, Richmond is a tough place to go, but it's sort of the thing that has always concerned me and worried me about their style of play is that they're sort of slow. They like to take their time. They like to have long offensive possessions, and it's tough to go on long, big-time runs like that. So all of a sudden, if you find yourself in the fourth quarter in a tie game, you start gripping your stick a little bit tighter. Everything, all the details, little plays become that much more important, and it's easy to lose those games in a 50-50 situation. I thought they were lucky to come out with the win.
You got to give Maryland a lot of credit in the way that they responded, though, because they do have the horses to go on that run, as we saw with Wisnauskas and Bernhardt and Fairman. Like, they've got guys. They made it happen, but they shouldn't have had to make it happen like that in the fourth quarter. It was a heck of a comeback.
After seeing them play, do they have as many guys as Syracuse or vice versa?
I don't know. I think the Maryland guys at this point are more proven because they have done it later on.
With each other and played together now.
Right, and they've done it later on into May. More than Syracuse. Syracuse last year with a bunch of these guys lost in the first round of the NCAAs. A couple years ago when Rafis was there, lost in the quarterfinals. Like, they haven't done it as late as Maryland has. That experience means something.
Right, and those names have been there from now it seems like almost, Bernhardt feel like he'd been there forever at this point. But I would seriously put up Syracuse's crew of guys against there, no questions asked. And you're right, I want to go back to the Chase Scanlon aspect of it because you're right. I think my big question for Maryland was, all right, well, is Bernhardt going to be that guy that's going to, make a run at the Tewaaraton and win those big games for him? That needs to be Scanlon for Syracuse. And what seems to me is he wants to do that. He wants to be in that role. He wants to take on that pressure, and you need to have that want in order to do it.
I like Maryland's offense a little better than Syracuse, but Syracuse's defense better than Maryland's right now through a couple weeks.
I think the two teams are very much a toss-up in that top four. The other team I want to talk about and that stood out to me, Army, what they did to UMass.
Yeah.
And we see what they did to NJIT this afternoon. to dominate a UMass team that was the first place team in the regular season of the CAA last year that brought back their entire offense, and that offense was completely shut down for most of the entirety of that game against Army. I couldn't believe how much Army dominated UMass in that opener.
Yeah, I agree. I think Army's a very well coached team, and specifically on the offensive end, I think they do a lot of things very well. Right? They're not breaking down guys, someone dodging, beating 3 guys at a time, having these highlight goals. They do a very, very precision-like offense. Draw 2, get it through X, move it twice, and when you have guys that buy into that system, you see what happens. On the other side, I thought UMass maybe made them look even a little bit better. I thought UMass just really, it's still early, but they didn't come to play in that game, and whatever have reasons here or there, but they have a long way to go. And sort of wanted to continue this conversation with having to mention Duke, who I want to give Duke some credit for bouncing back in the way that they did after suffering that tough loss to Air Force. But these, service academy teams, Air Force, Army, they're right up there making some noise.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you think, Air Force comes back this week and falls to Denver. I think it said more about maybe Denver than Air Force after what you saw what Air Force did to that Duke team and that defense. And Air Force was having a lot of fun. I mean, they were going behind the back. They were scoring goals late and often against a good Duke team.
The junior effect.
Right, right. And then they go and Denver shuts them down 7
at
goals.
Air Force.
At Air Force, mind you. So I thought that was impressive for Denver. I think after playing so many young guys last year, that helps them a lot this year, and some of the new guys too.
Yeah, right. 2 freshmen. J.J. Silstrops had a hat trick and actually had 4 goals, and Alex Stathakis, face-off guy, won all but I think 5 face-offs. He's a guy that's in the mix for that U19 team for Team USA. He's a big dude. Impressive stuff for him in his first game.
It's exciting though. We're getting now, coming in a couple weeks into the season and going to see some big matchups.
Hey, Duke Denver this weekend.
Exactly.
We're going to learn a lot about
Looking forward to that for sure.
I like that.